This match is Alvarado Jr. serving first against Andy Schad. All right, begin play. 0 serving 0. Side out. Zero, serve 0. That's a point. One, serve 0.
Opening point there for Andy Schad in the men's 40-plus seniors.
Short ball.
Andy's already got an amazing sweat going here.
Second serve.
And we only have 1 point on the scoreboard. You're watching the WPH Race for 8 on ESPN. A nice corner kill from Alvarado, who's wearing the black. On the Pro Tour, the
0 serves 1.
main Pro Tour for the last 22 years, now crossing over to the 40s, even though he's
point.
Been kind of off and on playing in this division for a few years now. 42 years old, 43 years old.
1 serves 1.
About ready to turn 43, I should
1-1.
say. 1 game to 25. We're in Houston, Texas, if you just joined in.
Side out.
The players and the referee also given an 8-minute warning saying the match will start in 8 minutes, but they started in 5 instead.
1 serving 1. Short.
Our referee is George Watson. This
Second
is
serve.
the bottom bracket semifinals of the 40s.
Need a towel? Two serves 1. Short.
That ball was short. Referee calls it very quickly.
Second serve.
You're on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside Ben Edel. I want to welcome in Ben from Edel Handball.
Hey, Dave and everybody.
One
on
serving
ESPN.
2.
Ben, there's not a lot of people that can pull it off by naming the company after themselves. As Noddy hits that ball down the right wall.
Apparently, I don't know if I've pulled it off yet, though. Dave.
I mean,
that's the thing.
Phil Nike did it. I mean,
Point.
is that the whole?
No, Nike, I believe, is a Greek god of athletics of some sort. Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I could be completely wrong.
Even though the inventor's last name is Nike, Phil Nike. I mean.
Well, you know, I'd correct, but I'm not the greatest speller in the world, so.
All right.
I do play handball, though.
Well, that sums it up.
I'm not the greatest handball player either, so that's.
Alvarado here serving at 3-2 here in game one, and Andy Schad actually doing a little bit of damage. Nadi's got an amazing serve, but Andy's holding his own with nice shots like that. Paddle re-kill, Nadi left hand. Bottom bracket semifinals of the 40s. Ben, you're over. No, you're not. Are you? You're not even close to 40 yet.
Oh, I'm close.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just turned 37, so we're getting there.
You won't believe how many times we've heard from people saying, "Do you have like, I have 3 years." I thought, we might just start a 36 and a half pro tour, 36 and a half plus.
Yeah. I just try to play guys in their mid to late 50s so that I can maintain my confidence on the court.
Yeah.
But even then, sometimes that blows up in my face.
Yeah. Well, I just legally changed my age.
After this, I'd like to know more about how you did that.
Side out.
Just anybody can get a birth certificate on the internet.
That's right. That's right.
Andy Schad from Washington, D.C. now. 2 points. Alvarado has 4. It's a 1-game-to-25. Winner to the finals to face Tyler Hamill. A lot of court sounds here. I'm not sure if this is coming from outside the court or inside the court, but that.
Short.
When you hear like 4 or 5 balls bouncing and you don't know which one it's.
Second serve.
That's how it feels when you're brand new at handball.
Let's talk about your business. Edel Handball, you are not just a supplier, maker, merchandiser, but you're also a sports marketing company that's promoting the sport of handball. And I know you keep coming out with new items, clothing, gear, gloves, eye guards.
Yeah, I mean, we see our company, our brand is really twofold. I mean, we have 2 priorities, and as an avid handball player myself, handball athlete, I want to see the sport grow, and I know that it can, because it's such a phenomenal sport. It's such a hold on.
That's a point.
Okay, go ahead.
5 serves 2.
Sorry, I was thinking that they're going to come to the video for a replay, and I didn't want to interrupt you, but I also wanted to hear what the referee had to say. Go ahead. Okay, so it's a.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, so we understand that by creating the right brand, that really truly encapsulates and captures the attitude of the sport of handball, that we can bring more athletes from other sports into our sport.
Right.
These guys are making this game look easy, and it's not.
Point.
It is very difficult when you first step into a handball court to even make contact with the ball and get it to the front wall.
It's difficult when you've been playing for a while too, but I think we minimize that difficultness for some reason. We just kind of put up with it and deal with it, and that's what makes us, I guess, better people. You're trying to rise above all the time, always fighting, and you're always, when you would play in high school, you play dodgeball, you'd be on a terrible team, but you find a way to win.
Right.
That's what handball is internally. Somehow.
It is.
You're not as good, but yet somehow you find a way to become better.
When you get into the zone, like tennis athletes will get into the zone. You're watching tennis, you can see what you can see when both the pros are in the zone. You're talking long rallies, 30, 40 shot rallies, and when you're in the zone in handball, you will get shots, you will get balls that are impossible to get. You're too far away, it's moving so fast, but you go for it and you get it, and even in your mind you're like, how did I get that, or how did he get that?
That's true.
That's
it just is. It's crazy what happens when you're in the heat of a battle on the handball court. Like that. Look at that.
I mean, it's really impossible, but yet you've seen it 20 times
talking
already in this
about
tournament.
And here's Alvarado, with the behind the back get.
And he's in position to win the rally too. At least extending it gives you another chance. Goes for a left-handed kill shot, left corner, gets it. And if we can look at a replay, we'd have to go back just a little bit. But Nadi Alvarado hitting the ball behind his back with a fist.
I didn't think so.
That should be on SportsCenter tonight, I think. It's a pretty good shot.
Arm. 7 serves 2.
This is the replay here, and it is toward the beginning. Right there, with a fist.
Point.
And Nadi almost drives it down the court as we're back into play now.
8
Well, you were talking earlier we were talking about age and sort of ribbing each other, but Nadi's a guy that is one of the fittest athletes on the tour.
Well,
hands down.
like as Jake Plummer, former NFL quarterback, said, Nadi is just one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life. And that, you know, really says a lot right there.
Yeah.
Also says, you know, the same about Luis Moreno and some of the guys that are 20 years younger than Nadi. And it's really a testament to Nadi's, you know, his drive. Knowing how to prepare himself is really the important thing. And he's just in great shape, 43, 44 years old, and he's still on tour, still ranked in the top 8 in the regular pros, and then in the 40s, he's working his way back to that #1 spot. Won't take long. This is the second 40 stop of the season for him. He was in the finals of the first stop.
Well, and how long has Nadi been playing at this level prior to even, you know, having a more organized tour? He's doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been on tour for 22 years and never really ranked out of the top 6 for 22 years. I mean, it's just really remarkable. And we're looking back at one point to see how many consecutive top 8 finishes at tournaments that he had, and it might be one of the best streaks of all time. And we had to really dig to find out when he lost a round of 16, and that was just last year at the age of, you know, 42 or 43 years old. Round of 16 loss. I mean, you and I can't even get out of the round of.
I don't have
round
rounds.
of bed.
I don't have rounds. Yeah, I just
yeah, they're not considered rounds.
I flail around and that's the only round I get.
No, I mean there's these prelim rounds and you know all that stuff. Nadi hasn't lost in the round of 16 in one of these pro events till well after he turned 40.
Yeah.
And he started on the pro tour at the age of 17, 18 years old, and he's put in a lot of miles.
Well, he's still running great.
On a short one. Second serve, 8-2.
Now he plays in Southern California, and those guys I was talking to, and they said, no, his serve is about the best there is still today, you know, and they play with everybody down there. His father was an amazing handball player, considered the greatest player of all time, Nadi Alvarado Sr. 11 national championship titles in 4-wall singles alone, not counting, I believe, 6 times he did a slam in 3-wall and 4-wall.
That's incredible.
In the same year.
That's incredible.
I mean, let's not forget about that.
Point.
Slamming 3 singles and doubles in the same year that he slammed the 4-wall. And that's not easy to do, obviously.
10, serves 2.
No, that is not easy to do at all.
Short.
Nadi Jr. focusing solely on 4-wall, not even going outdoors
Second
and playing
serve.
in any of those 3-wall tournaments. His father dominated out there.
Well, you know, and the games are just so different, you know, with the different walls. In Portland, Oregon, we don't have outdoor 3-wall courts, which we're working with the counties and the city and the school systems and trying to get courts developed in Portland outside, and we're having some pretty good success with that. But you know, I was able to play in a Denver event over the summer and play 3-wall for the first time, and it was incredibly fun. But it did take quite a while to adjust to the strategies and the tactics.
Yeah, you're probably lucky they don't have the 3-wall courts in Portland, because you'll find out there's another version of handball that you are absolutely horrible at.
Yet another.
Ball on the serve, we'll replay it.
I mean, all.
Right, exactly.
It's just another big letdown for you.
It is.
Unfortunately, it is such a fun sport, such a great version of the sport to play. 3-wall, just, you know, infectious. And I've heard a lot of handball players talk about being infected with a handball virus. And once you play, you just want to play all the time. And talk about your brand, the Edel gear. We're talking to Ben Edel from Edel Handball. How does that tie into your philosophy with marketing and merchandising?
Well, you know, fundamentally, you know, the equipment in the sport of handball has gone, you know, unchanged for a long time, and I felt as a handball athlete that, you know, I was completely neglected in the sense that any other sport you can go out and buy, you know, different levels of quality or different, you know, products with different features that give you different performance, you know, improves your performance in one way or another. And in handball, we just didn't have it. And, you know, the sport's growing. It's growing fast. And, you know, it's now time to have, you know, a modernized line of equipment for our sport. And that's what we really set out to do, you know, just work closely with the pro players and continue to learn and try to develop the, you know, the most effective equipment that we can make. And in handball, it's pretty minimal. I mean, it's your hands. It's a two-handed sport. It's like MMA. It's a two-handed sport. And but you can, in fact, improve performance when you really look at the problems that handball athletes face on the court. And that's what we do. We look at the problems and we try to find those solutions and build it into the gear. And, you know, always incorporating the, you know, the ultimate cool factor.
Yeah. Well, it's really not off subject, and I don't want you to give me specifics, but as you got into this, you started, you know, asking questions. You said you were talking to the pros and trying to find the things that they like, but also the things that you know are good. You've done a lot of research. I mean, you've become a handball historian in a lot of ways, because that's, if you're going to do it right, you have to learn everything, right?
Right, right.
So how many fables have you learned along the way? Things that everyone's been sold a, you know, a bunch of goods that are just completely rotten. I don't want you to say what they are, but I mean, everybody has this sort of thing. You're just cruising along, and I even, you know, think in my brain, I've been told so many times that this is the way it's supposed to be, and you know, we go along and change the format to 1 game to 25. The players absolutely love it. It makes the matches, you know, a little bit closer. ESPN says to us that they'd like to have, you know, 1-hour matches. We start changing just a little bit. The real diehard historians are upset about it.
Yeah.
But they're also upset that we're not on ESPN. Right. So then they're out telling everybody not to boycott, but that, you know, that we're doing things, you know, rogue. Yeah. But it's really just to try to, you know, to appease them, because they've been complaining for so long that it's not on network TV and it's not getting that exposure. So you make the little subtle change like that. The players like it. Right. But you're told all along, well, if you don't do it our way, it's no way. And I'm sure that you've come up with that with merchandising, with your approach, with the product, right?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, there's some the folks that hold on to old ideas. They eventually go away. It just takes time. But organizations like the WPH, Edel, you know, we both have the same common perspective in the sense that we're working on building the sport for the athletes to play the sport. How can we better improve the sport? How can we better improve the competition? How can we better improve the excitement around the sport? And we look at the old school, like we came out with the black ball, you know, and there's some things about the old school back in the 80s and the 70s where handball was enormously flourishing more, and something happened. And we're trying to understand what happened, but something happened to strangle it off, and we see it now coming back and flourishing again. And so, you know, we want to contribute to that and you know, grab a hold of that throwback, the throwback days as much as we can, and we incorporate that into our product line and into what we do and what works and what doesn't work. Well,
I can tell you the players dig this stuff you have. I mean, everybody talks about it. And you come to these events, and the Edel's going to be here. I mean, it's like, it's a big deal.
I love that. I love that.
No, I mean, I see it everywhere I go. I love that hype when I hear that. I go, wow. I don't know if anybody has ever said WPH is going to be here.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
No, I mean, maybe they do, but I'm
sure they do.
You know, I just see it where I go, wow, whatever it is that they, you know, some people know what it is that they like, and when you see mass people liking the same thing, you go, what? Start analyzing what you're doing to, you know, kind of raise the bar, you know. Well, not in merchandising, but just in the approach and the mentality, but I see the players absolutely love it.
Well, and we're not doing anything genius here. I mean,
that's the funny part.
No,
the sad part, I should say.
Right. I mean, what we're doing is just
what everybody else does that has succeeded, right?
Yeah. You if you're going to play any other sport in the world, you know, there's going to be badass brands and that represent the sport, and that's all we're doing. And the fact is, if you're a pro athlete, or if you're listening right now watching this this broadcast, and you're an athlete,
first of all, sorry. Secondly, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, and apologize up front. I dare you to get into a handball court and try it. I dare you. It's going to be the hardest sport you've ever played, hands down. I'm an athlete. I've played every sport, and I can walk in and play the sport for the most part, every sport I've ever tried, except handball. And it's incredibly challenging, and it's a badass sport. And handball athletes are badasses. That's all there is to it. So we need to create a badass brand that represents us. So we're not doing anything genius.
No.
It is what it already is.
Yeah.
It just isn't there. And
for some reason.
For
I know
some
you have
reason.
to go to bed at night saying, what in the hell is wrong with people? Because you know that I can go to any competitive person and show them the game, and they just stay in the court and keep doing. Okay, wait a second. I thought this was going to be easy.
Wait.
It's not easy.
I got to use my other hand.
But it's not too hard where I know I'm defeated immediately. Like I've gone to certain sports that I've tried, and I just go, I know me. It's not going to work. You know? I come out here, and it's everybody can play. Every person knows that they can do it. But then when you see somebody better than you, slightly better than you want to get better than them, and there's some kind of weird drive, and then you go, okay, I'm coming down tomorrow. I'm going to figure this out.
And that's the inherent nature. So last week I had a guy friend of mine.
That's not a replayable ball. That's volley continued. That's on a serve. That's a point. That's a point.
Not sure exactly.
4 serves 14.
I don't know if I'd want to argue with Andy Schad. He works for the government. Kind of like a Jason Bourne type. Let's just put it that way. I can't say much more, but jumping out of airplanes, diving through windows. Yeah, he does that.
Yeah. And he also plays handball.
I doubt that's even his real name.
Side out.
Well, he's got an uphill battle here today.
Yeah, this is
against
tough.
Natty Alvarado.
Natty Alvarado 14. Andy Schad
14 serves 4.
has 4. Natty 1 point away from taking this into halftime, and we will take a break. They have a 3-minute break when Natty gets to the 15th point, no matter what happens. And Andy delays that.
Side out.
Sean Linney and Luis Moreno semifinal match coming up right after this. That's going to be a hoot.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun match to watch.
That's the lower bracket semifinals. After that,
4 serves 14.
Emmett Pichot, Paul Brady.
Emmett Pichot is Team Edel.
Paul Brady is at the hotel in a bathtub full of ice, not talking to Team Edel nor WPH or anybody else.
Nobody
He's
else.
Focused.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a more focused guy like Paul Brady?
No, Paul Brady.
I mean, he's a machine, right?
He's a machine. He's a machine, and he takes everything that he does in regard to handball with utmost seriousness, and he basically wins
because
nearly every time.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite hard to find. We're talking about consistency of Natty Alvarado, but how much more consistent can you get when you look at Paul Brady only losing 2 matches in 8 years?
one of which was to a Team Edel pro Mondo Ortiz at the Players Championship last year. Mondo was on fire.
Bound to happen at some point, really.
Well, and Mondo demonstrated exactly how you beat Paul Brady. You roll everything out.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's – and change up the speeds. Now, what's on tap for the future of Edel?
Well,
I know you have a new line of gloves or shirts, or I mean, I've been seeing some new swag out here in Houston.
We got some new swag for Houston. It's our first time in Texas, and we're happy to be here. And it's a new year, so we figured we'd come out with a few new tees and whatnot. But yeah, we've got a new Pro glove. We're calling it the Pro glove. It's coming out in February, and it's designed around almost exact specifications of Emmett Pichot and Players Champion Robbie McCarthy, who's also a Team Edel sponsored athlete. And
so it's like an ultra thin, low wrist type glove.
Yeah,
I'm just
very,
guessing.
Very minimalist. There's no wrist strap at all. It's a tab glove. You connect it over the back of your hand, and what that does is that's going to give you a very custom fit. As tight or as loose as you want it to be. You know, some of the players like to have a looser glove. Some like to have a tighter glove. This
is sort of like hip huggers. The hip huggers of pants.
Exactly. In fact, I'm
gloves. Yeah.
Wearing those right now.
Yeah. Well,
but
we're in a janitor's closet right now. You might.
Yeah, it's a nice janitor's closet.
Yeah. Well, you might want to keep talking about your hip huggers private. But no, I'm just joking. So these gloves are like really. They're kind of like. What do you call them? What's your name? What's the brand of it?
It's called the Pro Glove. We're calling it the Pro Glove.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's fully synthetic, so it's the first handball glove that's 100% synthetic. You can wash them in the washing machine and dry them in the dryer.
Cool. All right.
And we've got it's a suede synthetic leather that actually, in fact, is well, the suede actually gives you more grip on the ball to generate more hop and more spin. And it's really weird. When I first started playing in them, I couldn't hit sliders down the sidewall. Not that I can hit sliders down the sidewall anyway, but I couldn't hit those sliders, and because I was spinning them into the wall because I had too much hop. Yeah, and so I had to adjust my game with these gloves and learn how to adjust my
When
strike.
do these gloves come out?
They're going to be out in the marketplace probably late February, early March, possibly sooner. Yeah, we're feeling pretty confident about February. Exactly.
Sounds wonderful.
Exactly.
So I can't wait to see that glove, and I know that Emmett likes those. Now it's really tough when you sponsor a guy like Emmett Pichot who goes through 20 pairs of gloves a match that you didn't realize when you got into the sponsorship agreement that most players just ask for a glove or two. That'll handle everything. Emmett actually is about $2,000 worth of gloves in his bag just so he can get through a typical match.
Well, the one complaint I got from Pichot about the court combats is that they stay dry. So when he's in a game, he'll rub the gloves up and down his legs and wipe his head off with them and try to get them wet to get the glove timeouts he usually goes for. It's a good tactic, but
well, people are getting onto that, So referees.
Yeah, they're getting onto it.
This is a one-game match to 25. Nadi Alvarado and Andy Schad here in the men's bonus coverage semifinals of the 40-plus, and now Nadi back in at 14 here, going to 25. Up next will be the men's pro bracket main draw, round of 4, semifinals, bottom bracket.
14 serves 4.
Luis Moreno and Sean Linning. Luis has really had his say against Sean his whole career. I mean, it's arguably, you'd say, the 3 best players, and this is taking Mondo Ortiz out of the argument for some strange reason. But Alan Garner, who you don't get to see, the best player I've ever seen in my life, who is focusing on a career but just an amazing athlete, he would defeat Luis Moreno every time they play. 15-1 lifetime. But Luis is 15-1 lifetime against Sean, and Sean is 15-1 lifetime against Alan. So if you did a let's find out who's the best American player, they would still be playing right now.
Yeah.
It would be a perpetual who's going to get the oldest. Well, Sean and Alan are separated by 2 weeks birthday, so they're the same age, and Luis is, was brought up watching those 2 players, and they all kind of have this weird connection, and if this goes on forever, they would still be playing right now. Now Mondo is kind of stepping up. Has to prove himself just a little bit more, but it's a weird thing. You haven't been able to see Alan play, but this guy is absolutely amazing, and he lives just a couple hours away from here, but has family. Looks like he might come out to San Francisco and try to qualify.
Oh, that'd be great.
So it'd be great to see him back on because he's an automatic right to the finals guy when he plays. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stick around. We'll have the second half. Nadi Alvarado, Andy Schad, just a bit. For Ben Edel, Dave Vincent here, ESPN. Watch ESPN app. We'll be back.
3 minutes, gentlemen. Play will resume with Andy serving. Score is 4, serving 15.
Back after halftime here, after that first serve from Andy Schad. Beautiful get from the old dude, Nadi Alvarado, wearing the red now. Andy Schad was a consistent pro player in the old Pro Tour days.
$15 serves 4. Short. Second serve.
And when I say consistent, I mean Andy Schad would qualify, sometimes get a top 8 ranking, sometimes be around number 12, but always go to these stops, always compete, put up good numbers. He wasn't an elite player like a Nadi Alvarado, but you know, close to a Tyler Hamill that we just witnessed a little bit earlier. Just amazingly smooth, Tyler. Call him the
4
Panther.
serves 15.
He would be a great sponsored athlete for Edel, since he also plays top-level tennis.
Point.
I didn't know he played tennis. Is he an open player or semi-pro or?
Competes on the
15.
city championship level. Competes, won't win it, but might make a round of 8. And this is a big city. Now Dave Fink is city championship level, and no, we're not talking about Dave Fink, but yeah, Dave did win the city championship in Tucson after moving there. And Tucson is a tennis know, city, so
yeah,
you have University of Arizona has top-level tennis players, and Dave did win the city championship there recently.
6.
Well, I played tennis before
Serving
getting
15.
into handball, and I played competitively, and you know, like most of us that get into the sport, I kind of fluked into it, and slowly, I just didn't have the desire to play tennis anymore. I just wanted to play handball when I had the time to play. You know, I wanted to play handball. I'll still go hit the balls outside every once in a while, but
7 serves 15.
I put all my attention on handball.
Side out.
I just felt more like a beast when I played handball.
Yeah, I mean, the sport is
15 serves
it's just
7.
different. You know, I've picked up other sports while I've also played handball, and you know, there's every now and then you'll say, no, I kind of dig this. It's a new challenge, but that challenge doesn't seem to last with other sports. It's just not the same as this. This is so challenging that I know I always think I can master it, but then reality is you can't, right? So, but then somehow it fools you into thinking you can. You know, so like I'm sitting here not playing, thinking to myself, you know, while I'm talking to you, how can you beat Nadi Alvarado at this age? You know, and we're both about the same age, and I'm thinking I do want to play Nadi and I do want to beat him, but what is it that you'd have to do? And so I'm strategically thinking about that in my head. I'm also thinking about, you know I'm going to run into Andy Schad. We've never played, but I know I will. We're the same age, and that's going to happen. What is what is his weakness? So you're always constantly strategizing.
Point.
And you know, it's like playing chess, but you're physically doing it.
Well, you're also mentally doing it, and you know, at this level, you know, these guys are all so good.
15.
You know, I think the variation of physical skill is a lot slighter at this elite level, and I think it becomes mental. You know, how quickly can you outsmart and outthink your opponent on the court? Bottom line, because you have to do on the court what you're doing right now. strategizing, but you have to do it in real time, and you're all alone. It's like tennis. But these guys don't have coaches or anything. It's all on them.
15 serves 8.
You have to try to figure out what it was that you just did that got the point, because there's something that you did, but some players don't have, there's some people out there that'll play 30 years and not realize what they do good. They just say, I'm just hitting the ball. It's like, you realize you just scored a point by hitting it here. Why don't you just do it again?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for telling me. But you have to say, why do you have to tell somebody that? They should just know, And so you're constantly having to think of even little things like that. Like, I just got a point. I have to figure out why I did it.
Right, right.
17
You don't necessarily need to think about that when you're playing chess. You just know that you just moved your king to, So you can't turn to somebody and say, how come I just going to win there? I mean, how come they?
Right.
They say, what do you mean? You just moved and won, and you don't know how you did that?
Right.
That you just know how it translates. But in handball, there's so many things. You could have been 4 shots ago is what got you in this position.
Right.
And you have to remember, you can't be so narrow-minded that you're just thinking of that last shot,
It is. You're playing in a cube, and there's not a whole lot of, but the variations of what could happen, and what does happen it feels infinite. I mean, there's no, and every player has a different mind and a different approach to the game, and handball is a game of very tight margins. Across the board. You miss-hit a ball a few inches off your hand on the wrong side of your hand, and now you've just given up, control of the rally.
Yeah.
And it's moving so fast, and the service areas for contact are small, and the court's small, and you have to, doesn't always feel small, but relatively small compared to a tennis court, and there's not a lot of room for error.
Check that ball.
And if you can get your opponent to make an error by changing up the speed or changing, your pattern of shot making, and you can get an advantage and get control.
Yeah, I mean, we saw earlier
Replay, 8 serving
a
18.
referee got the score wrong. Players on a roll. I mean, this is how, not fragile, but this is how the game is.
Yeah.
A player was down 0-4, makes a nice comeback, ties it at 4. On a roll.
Right.
Okay. Opponent not calling a timeout. Look at that. Between the back, between the legs.
I love that.
I don't know how you go between the back, but, behind the back, between the legs.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that.
There has to be a replay here. Nadi Alvarado, I don't know how this is even heavenly possible, but going behind the back, but his feet were in a weird position, so I believe, I might have saw this wrong, but somehow he stuck his hands behind his back, but also between his cross legs. Let's watch this here. Nadi is wearing the red right here. No, it's just behind the back.
Behind the back.
Okay.
Yeah, look at that. But still, he didn't set up and plan for that shot.
Yeah, no, he didn't think it was going to do that.
I have to plan for shots like that.
No, you have to sit down and put it on paper.
Have to map it out.
Map it out completely and then think about it again. Visualize some more and then swing and miss. But then maybe it might happen.
Yeah.
But, referee called the wrong score.
Right.
Thought that the other player was playing. It was serving. Said side out. No. I'm serving. Oh, okay. 4-3, 3-4, like that. No. I have 4. The player goes up, never scores again.
Yeah.
And now you can't say that he didn't score because it's good play, but he was in a rhythm. It was obvious that he had control. Now all of a sudden he's upset because the referee didn't have it. Then he waiting for the referee to call the scoring. Well, I already called the scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you said the score wrong. You corrected it really quickly while we're talking, but you didn't really give it the score correctly. And now you can see now he's frustrated, and then he never scores again for the rest of the match.
That's the weirdest thing. That's probably one of the most unique, weirdest things about this sport is that the level of focus you have to have is more incredible than I think any other sport I've ever played.
Yeah, I agree.
Even a slight misfocus on my part will cost me 5, 6, 7 points. Mm-hmm. And I have to get that focus back where there's nothing in my mind at all.
And somebody could easily say, well, other sport athletes are the same. I mean, they don't, they're like Paul Brady, where you can try to get him off his game, but it doesn't work. You know? And yeah, there are rare breeds out there.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they are so elite, is because they don't lose their focus. But But this game is just, little things can happen, and the more you start thinking and less just doing. You know, you're giving it up to circumstance, and what strange things can happen in this game of handball. 1 game to 25 decides the match. This is a semifinal, and the winner will face Tyler Hamill in the finals tomorrow. You're watching the WPH Race 4-8 Professional Tour, where Luis Moreno and Sean Linning will be coming up next. This match looked like it was going to be over in 5 minutes, and I really would have put money on it that it would be, but for some reason, Nadi still does in a match that is what would be considered a blowout match for him, still does the same antics that he does in the other matches, and that is stall, talk to the ref, clean the floor. I used to think that he was doing that to get into the player's head. I now believe he just does that.
Just what
he's
does.
a neat freak. He wants to make sure it's clean in there. You know, we used to room together on the tour, and he brings an iron, and he's ironing clothes, and, you know, he has a hair dryer, and he's hair drying his hair and makes sure that all the wrinkles are out. And he said it's disrespectful to show up at a tournament and have wrinkles in your shirt. He makes his bed in the hotel room before he leaves. I said, they have a maid for that.
I was going to say, they got people for that.
He goes, yeah, well, I just think it's rude to leave it. And I just ripped all of his sheets off on the floor and threw it out in the hallway.
I did that this morning with a bunch of boxes. I just pulled the boxes out of my room and threw them in the hallway.
Well, that's...
And then came on down to the Y here in Houston.
Good person.
Yeah, that probably wasn't very thoughtful of me.
Well, I don't know if you weren't in a hotel, though. You were actually down at the shipping yard. Some loose boxes that were in your way.
They don't let guys like me in nice hotels.
Not in nice hotels.
No.
20 serves 8.
I was going to throw them out the window, but they didn't actually have the access to do that, apparently.
Well, at my hotel, they don't have windows.
Underneath us was a swimming pool. That was a beautiful shot. I was going to see if I could make it into the swimming pool. I thought, you know what? This is either going to be a great broadcast story or I'm going to get punched in the face.
Which also could be a great broadcast story.
That, too, would be good. Just wouldn't sound very good when you mention it.
There's Bear mirroring there.
1 minute.
There's Nadi. See what I mean? Look, he's always clean. I mean, this is just – let's watch him here. Watch. There, more cleaning. Literally is going to clean this whole court up. Yeah, you know, blowout, it doesn't matter. It could be a blowout match, somebody that you're expected to beat. Now, he has to go to the other wall here. Let's see how this is doing. Yeah, it's dirty. I'm surprised he doesn't have Simple Green cleaning products. Look at him. He wants everything. That's why he carries that towel right there on his shorts. He wants to make sure that, you know, he has a backup in case there's not one available at the referee's crow's nest up there.
Seconds.
Referee George Watson giving Andy Schad 10 more seconds. That's 10 more seconds of cleaning in Nadi's mind.
I mean, that court looks pretty sparkling to me.
It's the best it's looked. Players actually want to follow Nadi after his match. I mean, it's slick court. Not after Nadi's playing. That was not a good shot from Nadi, and it was followed up by an even worse one from Andy Schad. Now point going toward Alvarado, 22-8. We're with Ben Edel from Edel Handball at edtlhandball.com. I've just spelled it out for you because
22 serves 8.
No, it's not easy to just
come up with those 4 letters.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's easy, but it's not.
23 serves 8.
I think you'd be pretty impressed if you went to the website. You guys' marketing's top of the notch, or top notch, top of the whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, it's just really fun to see this.
Where'd you come from?
Place. Portland, Oregon.
No, I mean your background is you have a background in marketing, but what did you do before this? The big thing, the one thing on the I worked for Columbia Sportswear. I worked at Microsoft. What was it?
No, Dave, I'm pretty useless
in
general.
Right.
But no, I've been an entrepreneur for about the last, I don't know, I'm getting old, 15 years.
Okay.
And I've been in just a few different industries. And I exited out of a software company that I ran for nearly 10 years. And
what was that? Edel Computer Bridal Software.com?
No, no, that's a good idea, though. That's a good idea. I might put that in the back pocket for later. But no, it was called Weight Trainer, and it was it is it's growing, very fast growing company, but it's a web-based training information management software for the restaurant industry.
Oh, okay.
And I exited out of that about maybe about 4 years ago. Not fully exited. I've got a little to ride, but
23 serving 9.
Then I went off and played handball and did some other things, and then just this opportunity came about where I just felt like we should do something and about the problems that the sport and the athletes face, and so I set off to try to create a handball brand. And being in Portland, Oregon is fantastic for this because, Nike, it's Nike Town, and Columbia Sportswear and Keene and Merrill and Sorel and Adidas, USA is stationed there, and so we've got just this wonderful pool of talent in the footwear industry in Portland, Oregon, and I was able to bring some experts from Columbia and Nike and Adidas and form a company and got them to believe in the sport of handball for a play, and we did that, and it's been phenomenal. I literally can't take very much credit for this whole thing.
Second serve.
Huh. You have to give some credit to just your environment.
That's right. Luck.
You watch Portlandia by any chance?
I have to tell you this. What's very sad about the show of Portlandia is it is about as accurate as a show could get about a city.
About just the downtown, though. I mean,
no, we're talking. Yeah, I mean, it's
not completely accurate. I mean, I lived in Oregon, and I would say, yeah.
Well, no, it's not. It's
in
not
the
reflection
70s. I remember this in the 70s and 80s, so yeah, it's true technically, but and then I don't think it's really true. But then when I go to downtown Portland, yeah, it's true.
It's absolutely true. I mean, I was actually. Hopefully my folks aren't watching this right now, but we were having dinner and my folks were asking about where the chicken came from, and there's an episode in Portlandia that talks about it's just this whole thing where they end up, instead of eating dinner, they go visit the farm, and they talk about how the chickens were snuggled and whatnot. And I'm not that way. I just eat the chicken. I don't really care. But the one thing too that's really funny is they referred to Portland as the place where young people go to retire.
Timeout. That's your second.
That was probably one of the most accurate.
That's true.
Accurate statements.
Talking to Ben Edel from Edel Handball, Race for 8 sponsor for the season, as we have this men's semifinals match, just soaking up as much TV time as possible as Andy Schad. Nadia Alvarado here at 23 points, just a couple away. Andy is not going to give it away, though. He is taking his timeouts. He has them. He's going to use them. Coming up next, it'll be Luis Moreno and Sean Lenning here on the show court on ESPN, the Watch ESPN app. Semifinals of the pro bracket, the elite guys. Both in their 20s.
There's
Still.
some great matches coming up. We got Emmett Pruchot versus Paul Brady, right? And then we've got
Yeah, it's actually going to be Luis and Sean, and then Emmett and Brady.
Play.
Luis and Sean, then Emmett and Brady.
Serving 9.
It'll be a rare 10-minute break after this ends, and we'll get right into that Luis Moreno Lenning match. And it's just taken Nadia a long time to put Andy away, and he gets a point there now at 24. Nadia could have lost that rally 2 times, ends up winning it. Referee allows these players to come off the court, drink their waters and do their thing, and then both of them have wet gloves. I mean, you're creating a glove that you can machine wash.
24 serves
right.
9.
The new pro glove. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
And it's really tough to get the combats wet. They stayed. There's a rollout.
There it is. Nadia advances to the finals, and Ben, we're going to also advance to the take a break.
Yeah, sounds great.
I want to thank you for coming into the booth, but anything you'd like to say about that glove that we were talking about?
Yeah, it's going to be out in late February, early March, and when it's out, everyone will know because we will market them strongly. and and try to sell as many of those as we can.
Okay.
That's the goal. But you'll probably see Emmett Pouchot and a few other of the pros maybe in San Francisco wearing a few of them. We're going to try to fly some in and get them out to the pros initially, and we're really looking forward to continuing to do our job and be of service to the sport of handball.
Well, we appreciate the fact that obviously that you're sponsoring the tour, but also, coming and talking about the game itself, not just your products, which you didn't do. You talk about the sport and your love for the game, and I think that comes out in what you are creating, which that's ultimately the win of the win-win. I don't know the other part of the win, but that one win is that part that I can see the passion that you have, and then you turn it right around into the products. The players love it, and they're really hyped here to have you here.
Right on. I'm hyped to be here.
And I know Dave Fink's happy.
Dave Fink's always happy.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have this next one coming up in 10 minutes. Stick around. More handball action here in Houston, Texas at the YMCA. And I actually do my hands in that, the whole gestures and everything. I'm the Native American. And we'll do that in 10 minutes. Stick around. Luis Moreno, Sean Lenny next here on ESPN. Stick with us.